Right, now let's head over to Ankara, to one of my very favorite guests. He's a former ambassador, Mr. Aydin Nurhan. Aydin, great to see you. Thanks for joining us, taking this effort, taking the time, should I say, to join us here on Anews. Now, top subject of the day, NATO. It's wrapped up, it's done. We've seen, like, everybody, 30 countries, possibly 32 countries are likely to be NATO. Even Biden said, oh, you know, it could be a world thing, not just a North Atlantic Treaty Organization. Overall, how did you see the, we'll talk about Finland and Sweden in a minute, but first of all, overall, how did you see the meeting went?
Okay, if you ask the overall holistic approach, let's say, the jargon of last year was, and still should be, Thucydides trap. Russia and China should not be more powerful than the United States, nor NATO. So this is the holistic, most strategic approach of US and NATO. That was the point. Think of the countries that were invited. 5 Pacific countries were invited. Moldova and Georgia was invited. What's happening to NATO? Is it stretching all the way to the Pacific? See, this is the containment process. First Russia, then it will be China. Now, in this global holistic picture, what happens with Turkey? Again, another holistic approach. Again, Thucydides trap. Turkey is getting too powerful. What to do? It was getting too powerful, especially for Israel. And getting too powerful so that it wouldn't listen to the demands of the United States. 2 main factors. Then what to do? Take precautions that Turkey wouldn't be very powerful. But what happened was this. In this meeting, Biden promised Erdogan to work for the F-16s, etc. So what that would mean is, as we said before, you may remember, the US is getting tired of the Middle East. That muddy or quicksand, whatever you call it, the US has important priorities. So what it has to do is make Israel and Turkey come to terms with each other so that they wouldn't be a threat to each other, and leave them there and deal with the Pacific and Russia. What would that mean? It means that the Greek approaches to the United States, we have to kill Turkey before it becomes too powerful. It seems that it will not be working. Okay. Interesting, isn't it?
It's very interesting. Okay. Well, okay, Aydin, let's take this to a global level then. I was going to specify about NATO, but let's not do that. Let's you and I have a discussion of geopolitical. Okay, so we've got Turkey in this region, so the USA is leaving Turkey to look after it, hence the F-16s and the upgrade of military weaponry. Fine, agreed. Now, by, alienating Russia and China, is that really going to work out in the end? I mean, you can't just have the whole world on the left and then Russia and China on the right. 2/5 of the US GDP or imports comes from China. Can you really just say no to China? The grain issue. There's no baby food in the USA because of the grain issue that comes out of Russia. Can they really say geopolitically that there has to be a divide?
That is the real point. I have been, of course, questioning this in my brain. The United States should have a severe very deep, serious concern about Russia. And I could not figure that out because the consequences, as we see, and this is the tip of the iceberg, are so radical for the world, are so radical for the world economy, so radical for the European peoples who will suffer big, starting with the energy and gas. Soon, Europe may turn against the US. So what is happening that the US is taking so much risk? It may divide NATO tomorrow. Europe may turn against the United States. So I wonder if the United States told in top secrecy the European leaders why it is doing this, going into war with Russia. This is a war with Russia. They don't shoot each other, that's all. But apart from that, Russia and the US is in war now. Why? I could not figure this out. There should be a very, very deep, very secret reason behind it. Because the US is paying dearly. Europe is paying most dearly. Africa is paying. Asia is paying for the time being. The next step is, of course, getting trouble with China. Not yet, but I understand that it is the second target after Russia. But what to do with Russia? That I still don't know. I cannot
you
figure
ask
that out.
why. You ask why. It's simple. It's money. It's always money. The more weapons that the European Union, NATO, going up eightfold. So whatever it was yesterday is 8 times bigger now, military-wise. This money, there must be lobbyists in America pushing. Crisis makes money for some people, but not for everybody. Look, there was a press conference just after the NATO meeting, and a reporter asked Biden, he said, until when will you keep supporting the Ukraine people? Yes, it's sad, yes, it's terrible, but when will you stop saying, no, enough is enough, my people are more important? What did Biden say? He said, until forever.
Look, there is a secret reason we do not know. It's not money, no.
Okay.
Everybody is losing in this game. The United States will be losing soon. Soon it will start losing. Today, the U.S. is gaining big. It's selling its shale oil and gas, etc. Yes, but tomorrow, the whole world may turn against the United States. There is something serious. Either the American rulers, the elite who rule the country, are drastically wrong, doing something crazy, or they have something very serious. We don't know what is serious. It's not money, no. I don't believe in it. No. The United States already is the richest in the world. I don't think it's... Yes, okay, let's say the lobby, war lobby, let's say. Okay, today they are gaining, but that's not the big picture, no. I don't know American reason for going... It's going crazy. Now they're arming Europe. They're sending more money to Ukraine. It's attrition warfare. They want the American eagle is piercing the Russian bear. They decided. And it will go long and long and long. Everybody says it. Stoltenberg says it. Johnson says it. The American foreign secretary says it. Defense minister says it. Defense secretary. All say this will be a long war.
Okay.
There is something crazy in it.
All right. So we don't know the end of that. We'll have to watch that together and find out. Let's look at...
Right,
I don't want to get rid of you. Yeah. I want you to stay with me for a second here. I miss talking to you. Now, let's talk about this Sweden and Finland deal. Now, I want to just say one thing with you. At the beginning, a month ago, we heard this sentence, Sweden and Finland have asked to join NATO. Yesterday we heard Jens Stoltenberg saying, we have invited Sweden and Finland to join NATO. Of course, Turkey has issues with terrorism on her borders, as terrorism is important for everybody in the world, by the way. Sweden have made a promise to get rid of terrorism or help to stop supporting terrorism in northern Syria, the PKK, the Fethullah movement. But if they don't deliver, what will happen?
Look, we listened to your television now a few minutes ago. Gave the speech of that lady. What did she say? According to Swedish law, European law, international law. She promised, as Erdogan said, 73, right, extraditions.
Right.
But then she says, according to our law, European law, international law. So if Turkey's request evaluation does not fit these three applications, then what happens? Then there is deep distrust between Turkey and Europe and NATO.
Turkey will just veto their application, surely. They'll just say no.
If they don't do what they promised us, if they don't do what they promised us, Turkey must veto. If not, I'm telling you, you don't have to be a fortune teller. Erdogan will lose the next election.
Okay, let's not go there. That's
a serious.
But why would he lose? He's made it very clear. He's made it very clear that if you don't do, they signed it. I read the memorandum myself. They signed it. 3 people signed it. They said if you do not send the 73 people back, it's over. So then, that's it.
Yes.
But then you have Biden and Jens Stoltenberg, who have already said we invited them. So are they not going to be under some pressure now from the rest of the world?
Let me tell you, this is exactly as you say. If they don't do what they promised, Erdogan will block it. If he doesn't block it, he will lose the elections. That's why he must block it, and he will block it.
Okay.
He will block their accession into NATO, for sure. If I know Erdogan a little bit, for sure he will block their accession.
Okay.
Simple as that. Otherwise, he knows he would lose election. Imagine the opposition parties. They'll use it against him so severely.
But won't Jens Stoltenberg pressurize Biden and Jens Stoltenberg? Won't they pressurize Sweden if they see that they're slowing down or they're not doing as they promise?
It's over for them. They did all they can do, and this is all we could get. A lot of people in Turkey say FETÖ and PYD are terrorists. No, it doesn't write like that. In the memorandum, it doesn't say that. We could not make them accept to call FETÖ and PYD terrorists like PKK. There is no such wording in it. So don't fool ourselves.
Okay.
We could not make them say it. So this is a serious matter, and soon you will see the tricks they are going to play with Turkey. But as I say, if they keep on tricking Turkey, we are not foolish. Then we will just block them. Simple as that. And nobody can force us to say yes. Things are real serious now. But I think the turning back to our beginning session, I think the most important thing here is that NATO countries and the United States, within their new transformation, as Stoltenberg said. He said transformation of NATO. If we are in a transformational period, then Turkey's value is different from yesterday. And if Turkey's value is higher, then what Turkey wants will be done. If not, these two countries will be blocked.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting how Jens Stoltenberg puts a lot of his words, actually, if you have to listen over and over again to really understand what he's saying. He talks about NATO and NATO allies. So basically, anybody who's with the North Atlantic Treaty Organization is a good friend. Anybody who isn't is public enemy number one. But shouldn't we be looking at more peaceful? You're a former ambassador, sir. Shouldn't there be a group of NATO people out there going for peace instead of aggression and making everything more troublesome?
Wonderful question. NATO is supposed to be a defense organization.
Yeah, we saw that in Libya and Serbia very well, yeah.
Now, it is supposed to be a defense organization. What do we see with Stoltenberg's words, transformation of NATO? So now NATO is an offense organization,
wow.
And we will see it in offense. Look, containment of Russia from Georgia, Moldova, Turkey, Black Sea, Western countries of the Black Sea, you know. So what is happening? What is happening? There is something serious going on.
Maybe NATO wants to rule the world. Maybe Jens Stoltenberg wants to be the ultimate emperor of the world and the strongest army behind him.
Not Stoltenberg. He's an instrument.
Okay.
He's an instrument. But still yet.
Von der Leyen, Ursula von der Leyen, she wants to be the ruler of the world. Okay, joking aside.
The world, the United States has soldiers in what? Nearly all the countries in the world.
Sure.
What are you talking about?
Yeah.
I mean, the U.S. Armada is everywhere in the world. Its soldiers are in nearly every single country in the world. What are you talking about? The U.S. and NATO, let's say, is already ruling the world. The economy, as Clinton said, economy is stupid. The economy is going down. What we should work on is economy. But then, when you work on globalization and economy, then it works for China. Simple.
Indeed. Well, the most people are in China.
Cannot do anything. What to do?
Indeed.
What to do? Deglobalization, yes. Localization, yes. Compartmentalization of regions against globalization, global shocks. These were the economic talks of 10, 15, 20 years ago. So deglobalization, compartmentalization of regions of the world, economic regions of the world, so that the whole world would get the shock, economic shock, the global economic shocks. Suspenders should be there, etc.
It's all very worrying, Aydin. Sadly, we've run out of time. We're going to see what happens when the energy crisis really hits the world. And let's see if these current leaders who are leading their country are still going to be there leading their country in the next 12 months. Aydin, Nurhan, always a pleasure to see you, sir. Thank you so much for taking the time for joining me. I always enjoy our conversations. Take care, stay safe, stay well.
You too. My pleasure.
There you go, Aydin Nurhan there in Ankara, bringing us up to date, or talking exactly about what could it